Yes. So the recording has been started. Okay, let us do a quick recap. So on the other day, we have completed the topic on BiFunction, right? So we have also completed about BiPredicate, right? So we know what is BiPredicate, and we also got to know what is BiFunction. So these topics, okay, when I say by, okay, when the interfaces are prefixed with by, it means it is going to accept two inputs, right? So the earlier discussion was completely on the predicate function. We have completed consumer, we have completed supplier, right? So these predicate, this function interface, they are like, they accept only one set of input, only one input it is going to, these are going to accept only one input. So predicate accepts one input and the return type is always boolean, right? And we have something like function interface. It accepts one input and the return type is any type. Input tag can be any type, or the return type can be any type, right? And the consumer, it accept one input, it will not return anything. The return type is always void. And we have supplier. Supplier is something, you know, which will not accept any input, but it is going to return something. It will produce something, right? These are about the normal interfaces, normal function interfaces. But the new topic is like what? The BiPredicate. BiPredicate is just like a predicate, whereas the predicate accepts one input. BiPredicate is going to accept two inputs. The one input is represented in the form of t, the second input is represented in the form of u. It accepts two inputs. That's why in the arguments you have two parameters, t followed by u. Right? These arguments are talking about the input and the return type is talking about the output, isn't it? Right? So when I say by, okay, when the interface is prefixed with by, they are dealing with how many inputs? Two inputs. Remember that. So we have understood what is BiPredicate. I have already explained this with a brief example, if you remember, in the last session, in the previous sessions, right? And we have something like BiFunction. Okay, BiFunction is just like a function, but the BiFunction is going to accept two inputs. Okay, they are represented like this. Okay, the arguments are like the first input is represented by the letter T, second input is U, and the third one is representing the return type, which is R. Right? So today we are going to understand the last topic on the two argument interfaces. Last topic on two argument interfaces, which is what? BiConsumer. What is it? BiConsumer. Okay. So let me take you to the program. Let me take you to the program. I mean, not the program. Let me take you to the visualization part. Okay. So we know what is a consumer. When I say consumer, consumer is an interface. We know this already. Interface, consumer, yes or no? The interface is going to consume one input. That input is represented in the form of t. So single argument. Okay, the actual consumer interface is going to accept one input. I mean, I can also say that one argument you will pass, and that argument is called as the input type, right? Inside this consumer interface, you have a abstract method. What is that abstract method? Accept method, right? Accept method is the abstract method that you have inside the consumer interface. You remember or not? Okay, let me take you to the program. When I say consumer, typically consumer is an interface and it will accept one argument, right? And this is the reference simple lambda expression. Okay, and if you supply an input, and you can just do what? You can just print that input. Right? If you supply A, you can just print the A, right? And how you can call this interface? Simply by using this reference variable c dot accept method, right? If you pass Ratna, okay, Ratna will be treated as an input, right? And A becomes Ratna, and you are just printing what you are accepting, which is Ratna itself, right? Why it is giving error? Okay, so this is not returning anything, right? So you can just yeah, because it is not returning, it is just consuming, right? So you just pass some input. The input is string type Ratna. So argument is matching, and A is A is represented as the input type. Okay, you are passing Ratna as an input. That Ratna is getting displayed in the console. A simple lambda expression, right? So there is a method called accept method. This accept method will accept an input of T type, right? And the return type is always void, right? So what I'm trying to basically, I'm trying to say that a consumer, one argument consumer, okay, it will accept only one input. And apart from this, there is another method called the default method. Okay, how you can declare the default method? Public default. There is a method called andThen method. This andThen method will accept a consumer, right? Apart from this, there is another method called public default. No, I mean there are only two methods, which is the accept method and the default method, and then method. This method is used for consumer chaining, which we have already discussed, and this is the abstract method. So in the interface consumer, okay, and this is the basic declaration about the interface consumer. Okay, this T is representing the input type. Okay, input type, right? And you can set the input type as any data type. It can be string type, it can be integer type, it can be a float type, double bit, whatever it is. Okay, so the moment you declare the input type, it is a generic type, and you pass that input inside the accept method to execute the relevant lambda expression, right? So this is a consumer. Okay, so when you want to imagine further, okay, so this is the consumer, you will pass the input here, okay, and you will write the processing logic. Okay, processing logic. How you will write the processing logic? In the form of lambda expression, in the form of lambda expression, right? So input can be of any data type. Input type can be any data type. Input any data type, right? So one input you will pass, and you write the processing logic in the form of lambda expression, and it will not return anything. Instead, you can do something like you can use the system.out.println statement to display the information in the console. Right? This is all about consumer. Okay, today we are going to talk about the BiConsumer. Okay? So consumer talks about single input, and the BiConsumer is going to talk about what? Two inputs. Bi means two. Let me copy things. It is a function interface that was introduced in JDK 1.8 version. Okay, same. It is available in java.util.function package. This point is also similar. It has an abstract method, which is what? Accept method. Okay, the fourth major point is it is a two argument interface which accepts two inputs and will not return anything, and it will not return anything. Okay, that's why it is called as, and it is called as BiConsumer, and is called as BiConsumer. Consumes two input and it will not return any input. That's why it is called as what? BiConsumer, right? So let us go back to the diagram once again. BiConsumer is just like the consumer. The interface by consumer, okay, which is accepting two inputs. First input is of T type, second input is of U type. Two arguments. It will accept two arguments, and it has the same method like the consumer. Like the method that you have in the consumer, the same abstract method, which is what? Accept method. No changes here. But this accept method will accept two arguments, two inputs. One is of T type, and second one is of what? U type. Right, and it has the same method that you have, same default method that you have already, that you have for this consumer interface, the same default method, right? Let us keep that method aside. Okay, let us understand about this. Okay, so the BiConsumer is always going to accept how many inputs? Two inputs. Okay, the input one, and you have what? You have input 2. This input 1, you will pass input 1, it can be of any data type, and you can pass input 2, which can be of any data type. No doubts about it. This is I1. I can represent this like input 1, which is of any data type. You can pass string, you can pass float, you can pass double, you can pass the class type, no issues. Input 1 and input 2. Input 2. Okay, and you write the processing logic. Okay, processing logic in such a way that it is going to accept two inputs. Okay, this processing logic will be written in the form of lambda expression. Form of lambda expression. Okay, simple program by using the BiConsumer. Okay, so let us understand the difference. Consumer, we know what is consumer. BiConsumer is just prefix the consumer with the word by. BiConsumer, it is going to accept two inputs. Let me take it as string comma integer. Okay, so PC I am taking for the representation. I am accepting two inputs. I am representing it like A comma B. A is representing the first input. B is a variable which is representing the second input. It consumes this two input and it will perform an operation. What operation I want to perform? I want to display the name and the age. First input is representing the name of the person. Second input is representing the age of the person. What I am trying to print here is the name is plus A plus and the age is plus B. I am just collecting two inputs, guys. I am just putting it in the console. Hope this is giving this making some sense. How I can apply, how I can use this? I need to use the accept method. Okay. Accept method. This accept method is has to accept two arguments. One argument is string, second argument is integer. So let me pass Ratna here. And let me pass what the age 23. I'm passing the name and I'm passing the age, right? Why it is giving okay, bc.accept, sorry, bc.accept. If I run this code, the output is going to be what? The name is Ratna and the age is 23. Here you can pass you need to understand something here. BiConsumer is accepting two inputs, whereas the consumer is accepting only one input. Apart from that, everything is going to be the same. You perform the BiConsumer operation by accepting two inputs, and you write the lambda expression in such a way that it is accepting the two inputs and you are performing the processing logic, right? So having said this, how these things are working here, see what I'm just doing. Let me copy this code. I go back here. So this is my code, right? This is my simple code. Okay, so I have written a BiConsumer. So this is the factory. Okay, just imagine that this is the part of BiConsumer. So this is a machine that is developed by using the BiConsumer. Just imagine this as a machine. This BiConsumer machine is accepting two inputs, the string and the integer. Okay, what is the string I am passing it here? Ratna is the string I am passing and 23 is integer I am passing, right? So Ratna will become the first input, which is in the form of string, and we have the second input as the integer 23. Okay, simple, you can imagine this, right? 23. Okay, and I have a processing logic inside. What is the processing logic? The processing logic is written in the form of lambda expression. This is the processing logic, right? A comma B, and accepting that input and having the processing logic like this. This is the processing logic. A comma B. A is Ratna, A becomes Ratna, B becomes 23. And you are just using the system.out.println statement to display the statement in this order. The name is A, which is Ratna, and the age is B, which is 23. Right? It is not running anything actually. Instead of that, you are just using the system.out.println statement to display to the console. This is all about what? This is all about the BiConsumer. Okay, and where is this consumer? I can copy the same things. I can put it here. The fourth point is this. The fifth point, okay, the prototype interface BiConsumer. BiConsumer is accepting two arguments. One is two inputs. One is T type. Second one is U type. Okay, one is T. Second one is U. Okay, what is the name of the method? Accept method. Okay, void accept, isn't it? Accept method, and it is used extensively in functional programming and stream operations. It's the sixth point, and there is a seventh point, which is what? There is a default method called andThen method to perform the consumer chaining. Okay, that's all about BiConsumer. So let us understand the real-time example. Okay, the real-time example of BiConsumer is you will use this example, guys. Okay, I want to generate an email address for the list of employees. Look at the statement. The statement says I want to generate email addresses for the list of employees. For example, let us say that if tomorrow if you are going to open a new software company or any company, let us say that the name of the company is something like Jyoti Agencies. Okay, or else let me keep the name short, Ratna Agencies. Ratna Agencies is a reputed company. It is going to do the marketing businesses. So Ratna will appoint some employees. He will require some employees. Let us say that Ratna is requiring 4 employees. One employee, and he has required 4 employees. 1, 2, 4 employees. As soon as the requirement is done, he has to generate an email address for these employees. Okay, and he has already have a domain name. Domain name is like @ratna.com or else something like @ratnaagencies.com. The domain name. Okay, but you want to generate the email address by choosing the first name of the employee followed by this domain name. For example, if the name of the first employee is Suresh Kumar, okay, and the email address should be like suresh@ratnaagencies.com. Email address should be like what? First name of the employee, which is Suresh and the domain.com. What is the domain? Ratnaagencies.com. This is the requirement. I want to fulfill this requirement by using what? By using the BiConsumer. Okay, sir. I want to fulfill the requirement by using the BiConsumer. Firstly, the employee's information will be collected. Then, okay, the collected employee information will be concatenated. The first name of the employee information will get concatenated with this domain name. How we can achieve that? In order to achieve this, firstly, we are going to store the employees in the string array. What we are going to do? We are going to store the employees in the string array. So let me take the string array. But I want to achieve this by using the BiConsumer. But for the data, to store the actual data, I am using the string array. String array employees equal to. Okay, I am going to store the list of employees. Okay. Jyoti Sayana is the first employee. Second employee is Akula Venkatesh Akula, second employee. The third employee is we keep my name as employee itself, Balaji M. And the fourth employee is the list of 4 employees. Okay, this is the data that I am choosing to store this data in the string array. This data is stored in the string array. And now I am also taking another string. Okay, my second string is going to store the name of the domain. My domain name is what? @ratnaagencies.com. Right? ratnaagencies.com. Okay, we will ensure that the Ratna agencies are in the small address, ratnaagencies.com. Yeah, what I want to do, I want to concatenate the first name of the employee. So in this case, Jyoti should get concatenated with the @ratnaagencies.com, and the email address is the syntax of the email address should be what? The first name of the employee @ the domain name, right? Venkatesh. The first name of the employee @domain name. First name of the employee, domain name. First name of the employee, domain. Forgive my spelling mistakes. Okay, it happens with the typing issues. Now I want to achieve this by using the BiConsumer. Okay, focus here. BiConsumer I am taking. Okay, the first argument is of what type? String type. I'm going to concatenate two strings, isn't it? Okay, and the second argument is of what? String type. Okay, BC I'm taking, right? I'm taking A comma B. Okay, A is the first string, B is the second string. Right? I am writing a lambda expression. My lambda expression will take the first string inside the array. Okay, the first string inside the array is what? Jyoti Sayana, right? It is inside the array. Okay, what I want to do it there is I want to filter the first name. I want to extract the first name because Jyoti Sayana has two names, first name and the last name. I want to extract the first name. To extract the first name, I'm doing what? I'm taking a variable as string first name equal to a dot. There is a method called split method. Okay, I am splitting that string by using the space separator. I'm doing what? I am this is going to return an array. I am splitting that string by using the space separator. So split is a method. We have discussed this already in the string manipulation classes. Split is a method. It will accept a big string. In this case, Jyoti Sayana will be accepted, and it will check for spaces. Very simple, guys. Focus here. So it will accept, the split method will accept the complete string. The actual string is Jyoti Sayana. Okay, and it will look for spaces. Okay, split method will look for spaces. Why it will look for spaces? Because we are using a separator called space separator, right? And it will check, is there any spaces in this string, given string? Yes, there is a space here. There is a space. After finding the space, it will divide the strings into two parts. Okay, the strings will get separated into two parts. The first part is going to be what? First part is going to be as the Jyoti, and the second part is going to be as Sayana. Okay, and these two parts will get stored in where? These two parts will get stored in the first name string array. Likewise, when I go back to the code, you have a variable like first name. Okay, this variable is going to store the string array. Now the first name string array has two pieces of information, which is first one is Jyoti, second one is Saya. Division has happened. Right, after this, what I'm trying to do, after splitting this, I'm using the system.out.println statement. Okay, what I'm doing is the email address that is generated for the name. Name is what here? The first variable is name. A is the name. Firstly, I will pass the name. A is. After this, what I am trying to do it here, please listen here. Okay, this first name has this first name variable has two set of data. What are they? One is Jyoti, second one is Sayana. Jyoti is in the index 0 and the Sayana is in the index 1. This is how the indexing happens in the string arrays, right? First index and the 0th index and the first index. Here, what I am trying to do here is I am using this variable. This variable is of string array type. Okay, first name of 0. Okay, the data inside 0th index, which is what? Jyoti. The data inside the 0th index is what? Jyoti. I am extracting the 0th index name followed by plus. I'm using the concat method. In the concat method, I am passing the domain data, which is what? @ratnaagencies.com. That's it. Okay, the split method is going to split what? It is going to split what? It's going to split the name. Okay, the name is Jyoti Sayana and it will split into two pieces. It has split the name into two pieces. One is Jyoti, second one is Sayana. And again, this is stored in the form of array with the help of first name variable. After doing this, what I'm trying to do here, I'm just utilizing the indexing concept to extract the first name. Okay, after extracting the first name, I'm concatenating that name with the domain itself, which is ratna.agencies. This is a simple processing logic. We have just done the processing logic. How we can implement this? I will achieve this by using the enhancer for loop. I will run the enhancer for loop, which is of what? String. Inside the string array, we have different strings, right? Okay, I'm naming it as X. I want to extract each and every string inside the employee array, EMP. Okay, after this, what I'm trying to do, I'm using this reference variable bc dot accept method. Okay, this accept method will accept the first string, and the processing logic will be applied. Okay, this will be called, and the processing logic will be applied, and you will get the information in the console like this. Okay, the email address that is generated for Jyoti Sayana is jyoti@ratnaagencies.com. The email address that is generated for Venkatesh Akula is venkatesh@ratnaagencies.com. Balaji@ratnaagencies.com. Ramya@ratnaagencies.com. What we have achieved these things by using BiConsumer, which is accepting two inputs in the form of strings. Okay, the first input will go as Jyoti Sayana. Okay, Jyoti Sayana will become A. Okay, you are applying the split methods on top of A, which is Jyoti Sayana. Okay, this first name is going to do what? It is going to create a new array. That array is going to have the two set of data. First name Jyoti, second name Sayana. After doing this, you're doing what? You are just trying to extract the first name by using first name of 0th index, which is Jyoti, and concatenating that with the domain name, which is ratnaagencies.com. But I want to display all the information in the lower case. How I can achieve this? First name dot, you can do the conversion by using two lowercase method, isn't it? Two lowercase dot, you can attach the domain name. If I run this code once again, dot concat is missing. Concat. If I run this code once again, this is how the output is going to be. The email address that is generated for name Jyoti Sayana is jyoti@ratnaagencies.com. So if you open a company in the future, and you can use this logic to do what? To generate the email address